Also, Sunny back again with another video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell to notify when I do go live and when I drop all the latest vibes. We have another movie review, Speak No Evil. Actually, a recreation of a 2022 film. Pretty much the same story. An American family is visiting in Tuscany. They meet a couple there, get invited to go visit them for the weekend in the old country. Things start to get weird and take a turn for the worse. Stars James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Aisling Francoisi, Scott McNary, Dan Hoog as the little boy, Alex West Leffler as the little girl. But I love James McAvoy. He is a phenomenal actor. Facial expressions and like demeanor throughout this whole movie is freaking amazing. So the movie opens up a little boy and the camera view. I love the way Blumhouse shoots their movies. Like their openings, Blumhouse does a great job at their opening scenes to movies, really like sinking you in and want to know what did happen and what is about to happen, like what is really going on. They really grab your attention with their opening scenes. Shout out to Blumhouse on that. But it opens up with a little boy sitting in the back seat. You see him through the rearview mirror, the little boy's POV from the back seat, and we see his face through the actual rearview mirror of the car. James McAvoy and his wife get out and they're like standing in front of the car. It's like nighttime. They're standing in front of the car, and then it cuts to a beautiful scene of like the countryside. The American family on vacation as well. Everything is like it's like a Tuscany resort, and they're at the pool. And they're sitting at the pool on their little layouts. James McAvoy comes in and asks, "Is anyone using this, this chair?" And it's like one of the little poolside beach lounge chairs you can sit on. And it even opens up very funny because picks it up and just drags it, like creating like a disturbance. Moments in this movie, even at the beginning, like at the opening scene with James McAvoy when they're at the pool, he has on Air Force Ones. And while I was watching this movie, I literally said it's weird that he has on Air Force Ones. I will later touch back on why that actually, what's really going on, why that made sense. Then it cuts back to the other family with Mackenzie and Scott, who play Ben and Louise. They're just like exploring their own vacation. And then it goes into a dinner party. So then it cuts to a dinner scene. There is a guy boring everybody with his talks about food. And James McAvoy like signals to Ben, like, take me out. Like, this is so boring. Their daughter is very attached to this stuffed animal. Bugsy, it's a stuffed animal bunny, and she's very attached to it. Like, if she loses it or like doesn't have it in her possession, she goes crazy, breaks out in like not a high, but she like starts to scratch herself and like kind of has like a nervous breakdown. They can't find the doll. They're out in the town. So the dad goes looking for it. Dad finds his family again on the street, and James McAvoy and his family are there talking to them already. And the daughter's like, "Hey, Dad, look, they found Bugsy for me." So then that leads them to then have dinner together. We come to find out that the son doesn't talk, because they introduce themselves, but the son, like, he doesn't talk, and then they're like, well, he has this rare condition where his tongue is smaller than normal, so it's very hard for him to communicate and talk, and just in general. The American family live in London now. At the dinner, he was telling them how he was supposed to be moving to London because he was like, his company was setting up a whole office there, but then that got diffused, and now he's kind of pretty much just restarting. James McAvoy's wife asks Ben's wife, "Hey, what do you work?" And she's like, well, yeah, she kind of laughs for a minute. And she's like, yeah, I do work. I do PR, or I did. Or she kind of like goes back and forth of like, I do it, I don't. So they pretty much just went on vacation, just kind of get like a breath of fresh air, a fresh start. Cuts to them being in London at the house. Cuts to him going into the living room. Him and the wife are talking back and forth. She shows them a postcard from that James McAvoy saying, hey, we had such a beautiful time. You guys should come out to the actual old country. Stay for a weekend. It's beautiful. You're going to enjoy yourself. The husband is like, yeah, we should do that. It would probably be good for Agnes. Wife at first is like, no, we don't know these people. Ben is like, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. And then as he's walking away, the wife is like, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Settle in. And they're like, hey, join us for dinner. And James McAvoy pulls out this turkey that he just killed for them. Weeze, she is a vegetarian. She already told them this when they met on their actual vacation, making her try the goose and kind of guilt tripping her because they actually made this whole turkey dinner, this whole like feast for them actually coming and visiting them for the weekend. Boom, she eats it. Ball takes it out of her mouth and like literally just puts it behind her back. They go out just to see the old country. Every now and then there's like a back and forth between Louise and James McAvoy's character, Patty. Patty is like he's old fashioned, like he's like a man's man, rugged. He hunts. He freaking butchers his own food. Like I said, she's a vegetarian. She's kind of like a humanitarian, an environmentalist. Always like this little moment of her and him with this back and forth. Of like what is right, what's not right, what's good for the environment, what's not. Daughter Agnes sees a tire swing. She asks what's his name, Ant, to push her. James McAvoy stands up, right? He goes to tell the boy to push her. Suddenly, you see like the switch. This is where the first signs of like, oh, that was a little weird. He's like, oh, he'll be all right. He just wants a piggyback ride or something. So James McAvoy leans over for the little boy to jump on to get a piggyback. And as he leans over, he reaches back and like snatches him and like kind of like gives him like a dad bear hug and like tells him to go push the little girl. And this is like the first sign of like, oh, that was a little weird. So then they go to this big old lake and they all jump into it, right? There is a moment when they jump in, the little boy, he shows signs that he cannot swim. Everyone is like, hey, should you help him? And then James McAvoy is like, no, like my father said is the best way to learn sink or swim. Later on in the night, and they go out for actual dinner, just the adults. Someone else comes and babysits, a person that the Louise and Ben do not know, but the family knows that they have babysat the little kid before, James McAvoy and his wife's kid before. It's like from the asylum, but he used to be a teacher. He's very trustworthy. As a parent, why would I let my kid be babysat with anybody? Like when James McAvoy's wife originally asked them, do they want to go to dinner? She doesn't say that there will be no kids, but then when the night, it's time for them to actually go out, Louise is like, oh, the kids won't be joining us. The wife is then like, oh, I thought I told you that. Like, bitch, you didn't tell me that, or I wouldn't have went in the first place. They didn't go to dinner. James McAvoy and Louise have this interaction of like, what's good, what's bad, what's helping the environment, what's not. Cuts to the little boy and the little girl playing hide and seek with the babysitter. While the babysitter is seeking them, Ant takes Agnes into into James McAvoy and the wife's bedroom, opens the drawer, shows his watch collection. He is like signaling her to look at the watch. If you pay attention, the watch has a different couple's name on it. Cut back to the actual dinner. James McAvoy is talking about how like their parents fucked them up, how the James McAvoy wife never knew her parents, and how they just were traumatized by that. It leads into a weird transition of them actually admitting that like the way they keep their relationship like spicy is pretty much like swinging. They have this like sarcastic like satire humor to where they'll kind of take a joke too far. They reenact like that they're role playing as a waiter and a customer, and she pretends to give him fellatio like under the table. They do the joke so long that it gets them uncomfortable. They make it home. Louise and Ben have an actual fight because during dinner, since James McAvoy and his wife were talking about how they keep things spicy and how they have intercourse on a regular like nightly basis, and at a moment Louise says Ben is luckily if he can get it once a month. We come to find out when they get back to the house, they get into an argument, and we come to find out that Louise actually cheated on him because she was sexting another man, and that's what kind of led to a lot of like friction in their relationship, and why she always tells him not to get angry or be upset, or that he's always angry. And then they hug it out. You see James McAvoy literally in the door, like looking through the glass of the bedroom door through the middle of the night. Louise wakes up. She goes to check on the kids. The kids are not in their room. She then goes to ask James McAvoy and the wife where are the kids. She then notices the boy and her daughter are laying in their bed sleep. Her daughter is laying in their bed. So she gets her daughter up, tells the husband, we need to leave. And she's like, we can't leave, Nat. They're going to do this, that, and that. Because at this point, the Agnes knows that something is wrong with it. It's not that it's a condition that he has a small tongue. Like, they have literally been hurting him. There's marks on his body, and even at previous, when they went to the lake and jumped into the lake all together, the wife had bruises on her ribs, and they played it off as like they got a little rough, getting physical. They make it out. They literally leave, and the daughter says, "Where's Bugsy? I don't know where Bugsy is." Now, I'm sorry, daughter. We made it out safe and sound. We will call the cops, let them come back, or arrest these people and go from there. They fight back and forth with turning around to go get this damn doll. She has like a nervous breakdown, and she starts scratching herself, and you see actually like the claw marks on her arms. Turn back around. Dad goes in. 10 seconds later, the mom gets out and says, "I'll be back." When the mom goes to the door, there's James McAvoy and the wife in the kitchen, like ferreting back and forth. They're like, "Hey, why'd you just leave in the middle? Why you didn't say anything? Found my daughter in your bed, and I just feel like we need to leave," and things were very uncomfortable. The wife of James McAvoy then explains this whole backstory, how they had a daughter. She died literally like a couple weeks after birth. Little Agnes was calling out to Louise, but she didn't respond, so she just figured she'd bring her into bed, and she don't know like the levels of like when the boundaries of when to help a child, when not to. And it's like, bruh, if a child is calling out for their mother, take that child to the damn mother. Why would you bring a child into the bed? Whatever. They end up staying, right? Ben and James McAvoy go on their own little trip. They go hunting, right? James McAvoy says that, I overheard, the situation between you and Louise, how she, was doing this, that, and third. He then says, "I want to show you something." He takes them on the top of a hill, and they pretty much just scream, and he's like, "You need to release this." But then they get back to the house. Now things are getting a little bit weirder, right? They start to have like a late lunch. The wife of James McAvoy is like constantly telling Agnes, who's not her daughter, who is Louise's daughter, what to do. Like, "Agnes, could you make the table? Oh, Agnes, can you do this? Oh, Agnes, can you do this?" Talking to Agnes like it's her daughter, like, "Don't chew with your mouth full. We must eat our greens." And Louise is like, she's letting a couple slide, and then she's like, "Could you stop parenting my daughter?" And then that starts a whole back and forth, and then like they all apologize to each other. And like I said, you can start see the gears turning of like things are getting weirder. We should have left when we did, but too bad they didn't. The kids are like, "Can we show you guys our dance routine?" This is when shit really starts to hit the fan, when you start seeing the real family, right? Agnes and Aunt start doing this routine, and it's just Cotton Eye Joe. They're just doing, "Where'd you come from? Where did you go? Where'd you come from?" That's all they're doing. But James McAvoy is literally like losing it because the little boy is not doing the routine right, and he's repeatedly telling that, "Stop, do it again, stop, do it again." And he's getting more frustrated, and of course, naturally, Louise and Ben are like, "Hey, they're just kids." At one point, he literally grabs the boy's feet, and he's like, "Where did you come from?" Like, he's literally instructing him by forcefully moving his feet with his hands. Of course, Agnes gets freaked out. She's like, "I don't want to do it again." Start to do it again, one more time. And this time, James McAvoy literally like snaps and like throws food at the little boy and says, "Go to your room." And then this is a whole back and forth between Ben and Louise and James McAvoy and the other wife, because now they're like, "Oh, you're trying to tell me how to parent my kid," because Louise is like, "Don't talk to the kid like that. It's just a dance. They're just kids." James McAvoy is drunk, so he goes to take a nap. And this is when things get crazy. The little boy then goes and takes the key ring off of James McAvoy's belt loop on his pants, plays like he's playing football with Agnes, and throws the football so it goes towards a shack, towards the barn shack. When he does that, he shows her this cellar in the actual barn shack. When we get down here, we see luggages, phones, property of all the families that have visited us, and we come to find out that they have been luring families here, killing them, and taking their possessions. The little boy takes out this booklet, and it's like family portraits, and it literally shows every family that they meet a family, take one of their kids, cut their tongue out, and literally make them their own kid. And at one point, we then realized that the wife was once one of these little girls that James McAvoy says he's been married to for like 16 years. And there's even a point when they say that at the dinner, Louise is like, they've been married 16 years, so how old was she when they met? We come to find out that she pretty much just went with it, even though she pretty much was like taken against her will, drugged, all that. And Aunt literally shows that like they cut my tongue out so I couldn't talk, and like I'm a kid, so I can't, like, well, I'm gonna run away. And they've been doing this for years. And he goes to the last page, which is the empty photo slot, but he shows that like this is going to be you, like you're going to, Agnes is pretty much going to become the new aunt, where they're going to cut her tongue out and literally like raise her like Aunt. The girl, the Agnes and the little boy leave. The girl has to create some type of diversion, so, or some type of way to talk to her mom or dad about, we need to get the fuck out of here. So she pretends to have a period. She gets the mom to go to the bathroom, and she shows them the photos because Agnes took photos of the photo album of all the families. One of the main photos was Aunt, the little boy with his actual family, doing his tongue like this. They cut it out, and it shows the dad of Aunt watch, and this is the same watch that Aunt had showed her on that night when I said when the family went to dinner and they had the babysitter and they were playing hide and seek, and he showed her a watch. That was his dad's watch that they took off him after killing him, and taking him as their own child. Tells Ben that like, hey, she really would be more comfortable talking to you. So now they all go into the bathroom, and then they're like, we need to act normal. We need to say that you had your first period. It was just too much for you. Now we need to leave. And as they're leaving, their car has a flat tire. Of course it does. And they're very eerie. They're very on edge, and they don't know how to act normal, even though they keep telling themselves like act normal. They are the most like unnormal acting normal like family. Like clearly like James McAvoy and his wife know like something is up with them. He changes the tire for them. James McAvoy is asking Agnes, do you have everything? Says this like sarcastically because he knows she doesn't have her bunny. Bugsy happens to be on the damn roof of their shed right by the car. Instead of him going up to get it, he convinces the dad to go get it. As he's going up the ladder, he shakes it, and it just builds tension. This is a great tension building movie. 95% of this movie is just building tension. Actually, shit doesn't really hit the fan until the last 10 minutes of the movie, which has kind of lowered it for me because I felt like it was more of just tension building and not really a major payoff, but whatever. James McAvoy has now thrown the little boy clean into the lake. Clean into their pond in front of their house. They opened the gate for them to leave out, but James McAvoy knew if he threw him into this water, they would stop. So he gets to relock the gate, and this pissed me off so bad because they could have easily got this car out the gate at the time in which they let them get out the gate. They literally back up and they get to the gate. It's still open, and then he throws them into the water. Ben tells Louise, keep driving. She literally takes 20 days, and of course James McAvoy relocks it. The dad then jumps in. Ben jumps in the water to save Aunt, and at this point James McAvoy shoots. He has his whole family. Cut to them all in the shed. They're going over pretty much what they've been doing for years. Get people, they get their money, and then they kill them. He's talking about how one of his buddies already has a buyer for his car. Louise pulls out a box cutter right before James McAvoy gets to tie her hands behind her back. She cuts him across the face. The wife has a shotgun to Ben, Aunt and Agnes, pulls it towards Louise after she sees him get cut. Louise jumps in, let me say another thing about this movie. Louise is the man in this fucking movie. Ben is such a wimp, dude, and it pissed me off to no avail. He was unathletic, uncoordinated, weak, didn't know what the hell to do the whole fucking movie. Just was whatever the wife do, indecisive, right? And they then end up getting the keys. They all run out and trap the wife and James McAvoy in the shed. They get in the car and they're getting to leave. They have Aunt, they have Agnes, they have them too, Ben and Louise. They get in the car and they get ready to, they're ready to just leave, right? And they're going to call the cops, whatever. As they're driving off, Here comes the chef that they met at that dinner. He pulls up and he starts to shoot with a shotgun at them. So then they end up backing up and they pretty much barricade themselves back inside the house. They're going through the house just trying to find stuff to arm themselves with, and they barricade themselves in like one of these, like, I guess like a den pretty much. Try to create like this Molotov so that they can burn the roof to let others know, like, hey, you know, it's danger going on. Another part that pissed me off, the dad has the Molotov in his hand. They light it, and as they're about to throw it out the window, the chef shoots at the window because it's like, why wouldn't he? He can see, like, you literally lit it and lit up the whole room where you were at. Ben then underhand throws this Molotov out the window, and it hits the roof that it's meant to hit and just slides down and then lands on the car. He didn't throw the Molotov. He underhand tossed a Molotov. Like I said, that pisses me off, right? Car then blows up. Another thing that pissed me off with this, James McAvoy turns into like the Hulk. Like, he literally is like busting through doors, kicking them down, like invincible skin. The wife, Louise, she finds some type of cleaner that is acidic to the skin. Like, it will burn your skin. James McAvoy at one point goes and gets in the bathroom with her, and she literally like pours this whole bottle directly on him. Now, you would think this would have his flesh done. Nope, it doesn't. And there's another scene. Remember when I told you she cut him with the box cutter? Now, I don't know about you, but if you get cut with a box cutter, you are done for the day. Box cutters cut deep and they cut to the white meat. You will bleed for an eternity unless you get that looked at by a damn doctor. She cut him across the face. When we see his face, it looks like somebody scratched him with a fingernail. James McAvoy is trying to get into the room. A bookshelf in front, or like a whole dresser in front of the door. James McAvoy is just strong arming this. Before that, he just got into the house by just like strength of just pushing the door and broke it off the hinges, pretty much. Okay, like I said, she pours pretty much this whole bottle of acidic chemical like cleaner on him. This made James McAvoy fall. He has a gun in his hand. They never pick up another gun. The gun is on the ground. Louise takes the kids. They run out the bathroom. She doesn't pick up the gun. They end up going to just another room. The chef with the other gun, he then sees them, and you think it's them, but it's actually a reflection in a mirror because he shoots it and the glass shatters. This is when the dad pops out. The weakest swing with a hammer, swing misses, right? And the dad, Ben, is almost about to die by the hands of this chef because he's like trying to push his head down towards this shard of glass that's sticking up from the broken mirror that he shot out. The wife comes with the hammer that the husband originally had, picks it up, and boom, right through the back of the chef's head. He's out, right? Cool. Cut to the James McAvoy's wife and him are in the bathroom. She's like dousing him with water to get the chemical burn off. Again, his skin looks like it's airbrushed. Like, it doesn't look like it's affected that much. I don't know why they did this, but James McAvoy should have been down for the count, like on several accounts of this movie while this ending was going on. He tells the wife, it's up to you. So they then find their way, the whole family finds their way up to the roof to try to escape. James McAvoy's wife comes up. He has a shotgun and is pointed dead at the little boy. The wife comes around the corner on the roof, whacks the wife. She slides, falls off, crashes, smacks the ground. She's out. Right? The ladder that they were using to get down off the roof, they can't get down now. So now the husband is like, but the only way for us to do this is for me to jump down. Like I said, husband has zero athleticism, zero coordination. He didn't study parkour. Let's go. Ankle twisted. I'm sick of y'all using that trope. Like, y'all been milking the twisted ankle, sprained ankle since 1900s with every damn thriller movie. Get over it. He then puts the ladder back up, gets everyone down, gets the shotgun that the McAvoy's wife had when she fell, picks that up, and then there's an intense moment of like, is James McAvoy coming around the corner because you hear footsteps or you just hear a sound. Turns out to be a fox. The James McAvoy ends up being behind them, and he has Agnes, and the wife is pleading with him like, hey, please don't do this, don't kill her. And James McAvoy actually says, because he realizes now that his wife is gone, He's like, you think I would kill her? There's got to be someone here to take care of me. So like I said, he at one time took like probably like a preteen, pre-adolescent girl from another family, and she just was okay with it or just accepted it. Pretty much that's what, in this case, she becomes his new wife. Agnes takes the ketamine that he was going to originally, when they first got tied up in the shed, when he was talking about how they were getting all the money and all that and what's really been going on. She sticks him in the side with the ketamine, and ketamine pretty much just like knocks you out, makes you loose, makes you very like docile pretty much. Now you would think, knowing what James McAvoy and this family has done for years to multiple people, they've taken children, they've killed, they've taken identities, so on and so forth, right? He then falls to the ground. They get the gun. Now, you would think, like I said, the dad has the shotgun. He's standing right over him. Ben has the shotgun standing right over James McAvoy. You would think he would shoot him, because why not? You literally almost killed my family, and you've been torturing families and little kids for years. He just walks off. Amen. This is the greatest part of this movie. Ant, who's been through hell, gets on top of James McAvoy, picks up a brick from the side, and Hulk smashes James McAvoy's head to smithereens. They get in the car, and the movie ends with them driving off, and it zooms in on the little boy pretty much crying. Overall, I would give this movie like a 6.5, a 7. What really like kills it for me is like how long it takes for the shit to hit the fan. The movie is like an hour and like 40-50 minutes, but an hour and 30 of that is literally just building up to that last 10 minutes where they try to escape the exposition of what's really been going on and what they're going to do to their body, so on and so forth. Like, all that happens in the last 10 minutes, and that was very disappointing for me. This is not a bad movie. Would I tell someone to go watch it? Absolutely. Like I said, there's great acting in this movie by James McAvoy. He really carries this film. That, like I said, his simple like facial expressions, even the little boy who doesn't even have speaking roles and just is like signaling and like trying to let the little girl know, to let her family know, like, hey, you guys need to get out of here. This is what's really going on. He did great. It was an overall decent acting job by everyone. The dad had no backbone. Ben had no backbone. It was pretty much whatever the wife say goes. 6.5, 7 out of 10. But I would recommend someone go see this. It's been Speak No Evil. I would recommend you go see it. I give it a 7. This has been Old Soul Sunny. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified when I do go live. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.